Hi, and welcome back to Wicked Ones Tarot. My name is Carmen, and today we've got a quick reading for you. Well, actually, probably not quick. We have a reading for you about somebody who is struggling to understand others. I think they're probably quite used to just thinking about what works for them. They probably talk over other people. They may struggle to communicate. And I do feel like this is somebody who's very much so wrapped up in their reputation. They want to be seen as the smartest or the most successful. And I feel like there's something here where their peers, their friends, or their colleagues are expecting them to, I guess, kind of like take a step back, right? And really think about the situation. This could be somebody who is being overly aggressive in terms of like a divorce settlement or a custody agreement. And there could be people who feel like the concept of winning is just so important that they're kind of forgetting. This King of Pentacles is kind of forgetting that other people have feelings too. So a little bit of like a judgment from the community, I think. Let's call in spirit with a little bit of Winchenta. I want just a little bit more. I hope you're having a good day. Hello, Kiss Gigi. How are you doing? If you would like a personal reading, my email address is in the description box below, wickedwandstarot@gmail.com. And we're going to start with the situations deck. What else do we have? So we have the love card: adore, admire, enchantment, synchronicities, signs, 1111, 222, 333, and interlude, pause, timing factor. So this feels to me like we've got people who admire this King of Pentacles. There could be people who feel like genuine love. So, for example, the King of Pentacles is often associated with father energy. So this could be how people are viewing their like paternal family leader, right? Or their actual father, probably more so if they're adults. But we've got somebody who feels like when this King of Pentacles has some sort of situation, probably something along the lines of a divorce or something where they have a little bit of control over how aggressive they are, they don't pull back or they don't make like the compassionate decision that others would expect them to make. So we have this popcorn eating energy because people are kind of shocked, like, oh, I didn't think you would do that, or I thought you would like, want things to be fair, not necessarily be so focused on winning. Tragedy, forbidden love, intervention, rescue others involved, and entrapment. So this is like somebody who has the power to be good to somebody. They have the ability to be the bigger person or fall back on their morals instead of a desire to like hurt somebody. But it looks like we have people that are thinking they need to basically stand up to this King of Pentacles because they're being pretty selfish. And this could, like I said, it could have something to do with child custody agreements or a divorce. It feels like somebody is using their position of power or their decision-making abilities to hamstring somebody that should be shown compassion or trap somebody that should be taken care of. So this forbidden love, it makes me feel like we've got somebody who is embarrassed, somebody who doesn't want people to tell them how to operate, and it's making them basically take out this negative energy from their like shame, which I don't even know if they really need to be feeling that. but they're taking it out on potentially a mother figure, right? Because we've got the King of Pentacles. Try not to get too caught up on the gender. In tarot, that could be anybody because I'm just reading energy. But because we do have the pregnancy card coming out as well, it does feel to me like we have some dynamic here between parents, right? So let's get some tarot. This is the Mystical Cat. So we've got the Sky King, which is the King of Swords in the reverse. We've got the Four of Sea or the Four of Cups. And is that the Sun? Yeah, the Sun in the reverse. This is anger and maybe even a bit spiteful or petty. So this King of Swords in the reverse is our King of Pentacles. This is somebody who is lashing out at another person and others are viewing it as like going too far, right? This person is not thinking about things logically or reasonably, or they're only thinking about themselves. And it's kind of looking like we've got people, because of the intervention card, it's kind of looking like we have people who are going to say, you are taking it too far. So we have the Tower, change that comes very quickly, and the Nine of Sea or the Nine of Cups. So somebody is telling this King of Pentacles to like sit down, like telling them, no, you're going too far. If this is a divorce or a child custody situation, we could have a lawyer that's saying, I know you're my client, but like you really need to think about who you're hurting here, because if you're trying to get back at like an ex, for example, but you're actually hurting your own child, like, don't you think you're kind of losing the plot here? You know, like I think somebody is telling this King of Pentacles, you really need to like look in the mirror for a second and ask yourself what you're trying to achieve, because it seems like you're willing to, raise hell without really any concern of who gets burned by it. So we've got the Earth Tom, which is the Knight of Pentacles. This feels to me like an attempt to stick up for whoever is being attacked here. Hello, King. How are you doing? Stars in the reverse. The Earth Queen or the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. And the Good Kitty in the reverse. This is really like, this would like, for me, be bordering on cruelty. I want you to not be able to recover from this. I want you to not have anything. I want you to think about how you did me wrong. Like this is, I want you to lose everything. And I gotta be honest, I have seen people get that way in the course of a divorce. It's important to always retain that humanity, right? Our ability to understand that people still got to be able to live, This is somebody who I think is using everything they've got to be able to try to like establish themselves as the winner or knock somebody down. So we've got the Empress, another reference to pregnancy, by the way. And we've got the Six of Earth, which is the Six of Pentacles, and the Fire Kitten in the reverse, which is the Page of Wands in the reverse. This is about getting someone back, making things even, wanting to send some sort of bad news to somebody And it does feel to me like it's got something to do with a child or children. How well those children would be taken care of, you know, if they've got the coverage they need, all of that. This is the Pause Tarot. Hi, AJ, how are you doing? The Magician, 8 of Pentacles, Chariot, and the King of Swords. So for many of you, this upright King of Swords would be the lawyer for the Empress energy, whoever is kind of being like attacked by this King of Swords in the reverse. We do have the Magician, and I feel like this is kind of underscoring the fact that this King of Pentacles feels like they have multiple tools that they can deploy or make use of in terms of achieving their goal, which I really do feel is quite selfish and focused on them. So the Chariot can be a reference to law enforcement. This could be somebody within law enforcement aside from, I don't know if we would really consider a lawyer that. That's more like a legal, right? A legal resource. But I feel there's somebody here who picks up on the fact that this King of Pentacles is taking it too far. And if no one else will stand up, then I will, that kind of thing. I feel like there's multiple people who are like, no, that's too much. Why are you doing that? If this is not in, you know, a court, then this could be about like how the community views somebody. You know, we all thought you were an upstanding citizen. You wanted to take care of your kids. And now it seems like you're just trying to put them at like a disadvantage, or you're attacking, you know, the other child or the other parent. Sorry. So we've got pressure in terms of how other people view the situation, because there is some sort of judgment that's going to happen, whether it's a court decision or like a, you know, legal agreement or not. This is something where there's a lot to lose that I feel the King of Pentacles isn't necessarily being honest with themselves about. So the King of Pentacles is also the King of Swords in reverse. They do have the Magician, but I don't know if that's necessarily like as pervasive in energy as the King of Swords in reverse or the King of Pentacles. It's that they're crafty, right? They're making use of whatever they can, you know? So I've always been a pillar of maturity, and a long time ago I was like involved in a little bit of like a, I don't know, you could call it a pillow fight, but it was not. Like, it started with a pillow, and then it's like, I got pretzels, I'm gonna throw that at you. Just like kind of like a bunch of us friends like having fun, right? When you get to a point where you don't care what you're grabbing, you're just like throwing stuff at people because you think it's like a melee. That's what this is. Somebody is like, I don't care what I throw at you. I don't care what the consequences are. I just want to hit you. I want to like make sure that you hurt. And this Chariot, King of Swords, and the upright is not okay with that. It's like, no. I mean, a pillow fight is one thing. But if you're going to throw like a stapler at somebody, we got issues, you know? Or like, I don't know, like a candle, you know, like we got to think about things. This is somebody who wants to basically make the King of Swords in the reverse kind of pull back a little bit, because there's an understanding that this is a failure. This is not something that should be allowed. Like, you're going too far with it, right? Or specifically, they don't want this person to be successful. If you get what you want and completely destroy this person, nobody wins from that, right? So I think there's a defender or somebody who is looking to make sure that this King of Pentacles, King of Swords in reverse doesn't get what they want, because they're too extreme. Hello, Jasmina. How are you doing? We've got the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse. 7 of Swords. I do feel like somebody is lying about money. Lying about what costs what or what is made in terms of earned. Or there's somebody who is trying to make the Empress look bad. I do feel that there's going to be some sort of discovery here that evens the score a bit. And I don't know if it's because of this King of Swords, right? I mean, if it is that person's lawyer, that makes a lot of sense, right? I'm going to look and see all that I can find in terms of evidence because I want to make sure people make the right decision or the judge makes the right decision, right? But we've got 2 swords left behind. And to me, that indicates that we did not do a good job cleaning up after our mistake here, whoever the King of Swords in the reverse is. So if they're exaggerating or if they're trying to make this person look bad just to, you know, be as petty as possible, those things could be exposed. Hello, Voyager. How are you doing? That's entirely possible. Taste of your own medicine is definitely something that the universe will use. So we've got 8 of Cups and the Knight of Swords. Yeah, I think this person was not willing to stop. They were being a bit ruthless or cruel. They really wanted to, I guess, like punish or like get even, really hurt somebody. And it's like they're being called off. Like, no, that's not going to work around here. So if somebody tried to start a fight out in the parking lot, but before you could, you know, you got kicked off the property, it's like, no, we're not going to play those games. You're going too far. That's, I don't think so. This is the Nightmare Before Christmas. Ooh, I forgot to let you all know. I have an update regarding the internet, and basically, long story short, I'm going to have to get a different internet provider. So, there may be a little bit of, there may be a little bit less content until that gets resolved, but hopefully it doesn't take too long because I already have like the equipment I need or whatever. All right. So we've got Death in the reverse again. We had that at the very beginning. Somebody who is unwilling to stop, even though they got signs they should stop, or some other person stepped in and said, don't you think you're taking this a little bit too far? No, I'm going to go farther. Hello, Deborah. How are you doing? Hello, daughter of Saturn. Hello, Carrie. How are we doing? Not much. I'm just looking forward to having better internet. All right, what else? So we have the Hermit in the reverse. The 5 of Swords, which is the 5 of Needles. And the 2 of Needles in the reverse. 2 of Swords in the reverse. This feels to me like we've got somebody who is so determined to find a way to make, I don't know, their ex or their rival feel bad that multiple people have to step in and say, hey, like, we're not cool with that. You're going to have to take a different approach. Because the 3 of Pentacles, to me, it's like we've got to put together a plan because they're not stopping. There's no end in sight here. And it's a sabotage. It's a reckless sabotage. You don't need to waste more money on lawyers just to make sure that your ex can't afford Starbucks. You know what I mean? Like there's something here. It's like, let's just like, I mean, it's probably not the lawyer that's making that argument, but this is saying like, it's too far. Let's, you know, what's the saying? don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. This person's, well, that's oddly appropriate because I do feel like for many of you, there's a child involved here. But this is somebody who's just like going too far. And it's spite, you know? I want to make you regret how you treated me. I want to make you regret what decision you made. Queen of Swords in the reverse is spiteful, angry, vindictive. So it's not just this upright King of Swords that's saying, hey, you should really think about how you're treating this person, or hey, don't you think you're taking it a little bit too far? It's multiple people that are telling this person, you like need to chill. Because it's too far. We have the High Priestess in the reverse and the Seven of Presents or the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah. There's multiple people who started talking about the situation. They were concerned. And then I feel like things got even worse beyond that. And it just seems like things got out of hand, you know? Like, how did we get here? Hi, Upper Echelon. How are you doing? Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. What else do we have? Six of Candles or the Six of Wands. And the Hierophant in the reverse. Yeah, this is being willing to sacrifice your morals or your standards, not really, you know, abiding by rules of engagement or like decency. You're so focused on winning. You're so determined to be declared the victor that you're losing who you are. We all have to be aware of where those lines are. Where do I cease being myself and become an empty shell of some strange goal, right? And I can't tell you what those things are. I can't tell you what your morals or your rules